I think if I can sort of steer a little bit, and I'll give you guys the latitude to sort of go where you want, but I think there's plenty of sort of publicized stories of success, but I think it'd be most interesting to hear a little bit about maybe some unsung heroes, someone who's done something really interesting with a part of your platform offering or done something innovative that might be a little inspirational for people who are thinking about doing some of this stuff themselves. Anybody got one?
So I can, well,
I don't want to, but go ahead.
okay.
Yahoo's always
I don't know. So actually, one thing that was kind of fun. So I love YQL. I'm like a huge YQL advocate, and it's my baby. But we were working with Intuit, who are. It's actually Intuit's a really surprising company for me because it turns out that they have 20% time like Google, and you're like, really? A tax accounting company? You guys have 20% time? That seems bizarre, but. So they're actually a really innovative company, and they came to us because they have a product called QuickBase, and it's like an online database, and they've got all of these small business customers, and it's really hard for them to cycle and change their APIs because they have this massive legacy installed user base. So they came to us because they saw YQL as a way to get more people interested in their product, but also to add an abstraction layer to their own API and then innovate on top of it. So I thought that was a really interesting thing of kind of they didn't have the ability to rapidly try new things with their own infrastructure. So they used our platform as a way to help them try new things, innovate, test stuff.
And they sort of injected abstraction onto an existing system to give them the ability then to iterate underneath.
Exactly, and get feedback from their users, figure out which things work, try new features, because our platform was much easier to rapidly iterate on than their traditional platform because it's much I'm sure their traditional platform is incredibly secure and scalable, but the abstraction layer gave them that ability to try new ideas. So that was pretty fun.
Actually, a couple of PayPal developers asked me, can we build a YQL adapter for PayPal transactions?
Hey, they can win 10 grand, right?
Yeah. Cool. The best application I would probably give as an example is something called Restalic, which was actually one of the winner in our previous Dev Challenge. What it does is pretty simple. I mean, we all seen Craigslist and eBay and everything become popular and successful. But something that always comes into mind is I don't really want to buy something. I just need something. I need to mow my lawn and I need a lawnmower for maybe 30 minutes once a month. I don't want to spend $300 and buy a mower. So what this does is the Restalic is basically provides a platform where you can go and say, I've got a lawnmower, an electric or diesel, whatever it is, and then you're going to say, I'm going to charge $5 for every 10 minutes or 1 hour. And then people can go in and see their area by looking at their geolocation, and actually it actually uses Twitter to let users log in and share everything. And see what's available or what they're looking for. When they find one, they will say, I want to rent this. They will use PayPal APIs to get a pre-approval. Pre-approval is a way you can promise someone that you're going to pay through PayPal, and PayPal really holds the money for them. And then they take the product, and then after they use it, they give it back, and then the owner basically comes back to the application and says, he used it for 2 hours, charges user $10 or $20, whatever it is, and the platform executes a payment. So that's a cool idea. Mainly people living in Bay Area, a lot of times, mainly during winter, whenever we want to go to Lake Tahoe, we always hear in the last minute that the Interstate 80 is closed on the mountains after Sacramento, and you can't go without a snow chains. And who in Bay Area needs snow chains? We always wonder, hey, where can I get one? I don't want to buy new ones because I'm going to go there only once. That's a very cool use case.
Rafi?
So I have two-ish. One is, and we've talked about them before publicly, but I'm not sure how many people have followed it. Like, there's a great application out there called CoTweet, whose whole job is to help businesses manage their interactions on Twitter. So they've taken a very vertical approach to the way businesses want to interact with other people, such like how Comcast or JetBlue wants to talk, and have workflows so that people can manage tweets in the back end. That one is probably very well known. The other one that I like to talk about a lot these days is a company called Clout. What they do is they consume our fire hose of all our tweets and start to compute what all our users are interested in, who are the biggest influencers on particular users. So like you can go to Clout and look up Rafi, and you'll see members of Twitter and members and people who I consider mentors in the world who are influencers on me, and they've made that by looking at my tweet stream and how people interact with me on Twitter. They also know what my interests are based on what I tweet about. So you can see Twitter API, biking, software, stuff like that show up on my list of interests. And they're monetizing in very interesting ways that are completely outside Twitter. They monetize it directly to either marketing companies or to research companies, people who want to understand how this Twitter ecosystem is evolving and changing, because just a raw number of data, like when you're dealing with 70 million tweets a day, no one can really process all that information. So Cloud has done that and are selling that data on their side. So they're using our platform as a data source, which I find fascinating.
So that seems like one of those cases, not to be the sort of pessimist on the scenario, but where that seems like a gap opportunity, right? You talked about the fact that you guys internally already are doing massive monitoring of the data and have that kind of information. Is it really that their customer is just going to always be totally different than your customer? I think
in that situation there are many different to compute this information, and there are many distinct ways. Whether or not Twitter will officially do one is unknown. If we did do one, it's just one perspective on the ecosystem.
Right.
We make our one of our offerings is to give away every single piece of data that comes into us in real time, so other people can compute that any way they want. They may decide that our way of computing things is wrong.
Yeah.
May be correct. So I'm not sure that cloud is exactly a gap. Maybe things like image providers are a gap. I mean, I don't know that one for sure. But I don't think analytics as a core is necessarily a gap.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of other